Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you a Starcraft 2 commentary. This time, another PvZ with one of my favorite players, Root Kiwikaki, spawning as the orange Protoss. His opponent will be EG Strifecro, spawning as the yellow Zerg. This will be part of the round of 64, first round action of the XBL Power to the Players tournament, with a top prize of $1,000. And the game will be played on Metalopolis. We see the spawn positions here, Kiwikaki the western position, and Strifecro on the southern position. So close by air, a little bit farther by the ground distance, and the way these two players are situated right now, it could turn in quite a long game, as expansions will be easy to get, not quite as easy as cross positions, but you will be able to expand away from your opponent. See, the Zerg could expand here first, and then start his way counterclockwise around the map, taking expansion after expansion. Kiwikaki is going to want to try to prevent that expansion, as once the Zerg gets on a number of bases, it's very difficult for Protoss and Terran to take on the large Zerg army. So we'll see what sort of harassment Kiwikaki is able to do in the early going here. Looks like Kiwi is now throwing down a rather late building, so a 14 gateway, taking a bit more of an economic build at the start of this game. He does have his probe out around the map, and the Overlord poking its head in here, going to give away the position as the southern position. That probe making a beeline into the base, wants to make sure his opponent is not going for any sort of early pull, either a 10 pull or perhaps even earlier than that, and there's no rush coming. So it looks like Kiwi is going to scout at this hatchery. And it looked to be about a 15 hatch for Strifecro, and now going down a 14 pool, going to keep a drone at the bottom of his ramp to prevent any sort of pylon and cannon play. Kiwi getting up a gas and getting it fully saturated. Just doing his best in the early game here to throw down most of the standard buildings for Protoss, getting down that cybernetics core. And we'll see whether he goes with any sort of early zealot play to try to affect his Zerg opponent's early economy. We do see the spawning pool and the hatchery about 80% complete for Strifecro, and that zealot is on its way out for Kiwikaki. He has a lot of chrono boost saved up in the early going here, so he could use it to chrono out this zealot or perhaps a few early stalkers as well. We did see in the previous PvZ I did between Cats and his Protoss opponent White Ra, that White Ra pushed out early, was able to affect the early hatchery of Cats and then really disrupt his income, force him to make a lot of Zerglings, and he was just not able to drone up. We do see that Zealot on the way, and it looks like Kiwikaki pulling back at the moment. He may be waiting for his Stalker counterpart, and one chrono boost used on that Stalker so far. So we'll see whether he comes out with another Stalker or decides to throw down an expansion. Does look like he was saving up, but it looks like it will be a second Stalker, and not yet showing that aggression. So we just see the early two Zerglings and Zergling speed coming out for Strifecro. Does have one queen, and the second queen about halfway complete at this natural. Just two drones down here, and it looks like they do see the Zealot and the Stalker coming. He did have patrolling Zerglings, and now going to be forced to make a lot of Zerglings to deal with this pressure. A third Stalker on the way, making its way over to the base here, and now coming in here, going to try to focus down a few drones, perhaps even this queen. Sniping a queen this early could be very damaging, and it looks like instead we'll just be lessening the number of Zerglings that Strifecro has. Again, Strifecro pulled those drones off of this natural, as it's just not safe. Safer in the main, where he's going to have reinforcements and that queen. So it looks like Kiwikaki trying to focus down this queen. He may not be able to get it, as the queen does slip behind the mineral lines, and now having a number of Zerglings come out and getting good surrounds on the units for Kiwikaki, taking down the Zealot and the Stalker there, and now this one Stalker trying to retreat, take a few pot shots at these Zerglings. And it looks like this Stalker will go down, as the speed has kicked in for Strifecro. And now moving out here, and now in a very dangerous position is Kiwikaki, as he's thrown down a Nexus. There's 20 Zerglings on the way. He only has 2 cannons here. A number of good choke points, but he's going to be doing a swap here, a transfer over to the natural. Not a good time. He does have a sentry warped in here, and he's going to get a great force field down just in time. We'll see whether these cannons are able to finish before these pylons go down. A very precarious situation for Protoss. as these 20 Zerglings would like nothing more than to stream into this base and really destroy the early probe count of Kiwikaki. But that sentry coming in just in time, throwing down that force field, and Kiwikaki going to be reinforcing with a number of sentries at this point, as he wants to have those force fields ready and available if he needs them. So he's doing such a smart job setting up multiple choke points here, at the top of the ramp, at the bottom, right by this cannon, and then a few places in the minerals he could also throw a force field, quickly stopping any sort of Zergling aggression. Strifecro just doing his best to kind of contain Kiwikaki at this point, but Kiwikaki just going to drone up, or probe up, and throw down a number of gateways. He did all of that off of one warp gate, so very impressive. He was able to defend against all those Zerglings with a clutch force field. You wonder if Strifecro should perhaps push in here and bait a few more force fields. You do not want Kiwikaki to be able to get a lot of energy on these sentries. Looks like he's going to do just that, trying to bait a force field, but none coming as it was just 4 Zerglings. And Strifecro taking this opportunity to throw down a 3rd base, so he will be on 2 expansions very early here. If we look at the income, he has 51 workers compared to the 45 of Kiwikaki, also getting up his lair. So doing a good job defending in the early going against the Stalker and Zealot pressure, not losing much of anything, just a few drones, a Queen down to about half health, and then able to counter and put Kiwikaki back on the defensive. Kiwi has 6 sentries at this point, so will be able to force field to his heart's desire and defend against these Lings. We see Lings from Strifecro on patrol up here. Very smart idea. A lot of players do send their Lings all around the base, but hardly any of them put them on patrol like that. You can cover a lot of distance and you can just set it and forget it. So it looks like we do not have a lair tech chosen for Strifecro yet, as he's just now throwing down a Spire. And we see 2 Stargates on the way for Kiwikaki, one already producing a Phoenix and a Void Ray. So he may be able to make it into the main of Strifecro here and do some damage with that Void Ray and Phoenix combination. The Phoenix able to pick up the Queen, and the Void Ray able to focus it down if Strifecro does not have a number of Queens to defend. But it looks like on the field right now he has 4 Queens, now a 5th Queen just popped. So each of these expansions is going to be very safe. 4 Queens, or 3 Queens in the main here, as Kiwi just now has the 2nd Stargate up. It looks like he is pushing out Phoenix, chrono boosting both of them, keeping his chrono boost low on both of these Nexus. Has these Zealots out in front in case any sort of Zergling pressure pushes in, and again these sentries as well. Kiwi getting up a Nexus here. Looks like he was able to take down that scouting Zergling, but now Strifecro does know about this expansion up top, choosing to throw down a 4th expansion. So Kiwi not being very aggressive, just used that first Phoenix to scout, and now keeping these Phoenix in his base, and another one in the mid between these 2 bases. So Kiwi not being very aggressive, now sending this Phoenix out on a scouting path. It's not going to see a gold, but if it makes its way to the right, he's not going to like what he sees. So we see more and more Phoenix come out for Kiwikaki. Looks like he has 4 right now. I believe he canceled that Void Ray, so just focusing on Phoenix. And he did see that Spire, so he knows that his opponent will have Mutalisks up shortly. And it looks like there were 10 Mutalisks in production. Now they're out on the field for Strifecro, so we'll see what he's able to do with these Mutalisks. In the 3rd, we see a number of cannons coming up for Kiwikaki, powered by 3 pylons. So this is going to be a very entrenched position with these cannons and pylons. Phoenix a perfect counter against these Mutalisks as well, as they do have 1 more range than the Mutalisks, a faster attack speed, and they do bonus damage against light, doing a full 20 damage against light units, which the Mutalisks definitely are. Looks like we have more Phoenix pumped out of these Stargates 2 at a time, and these Phoenix doing a number on the Overseer there. Does not want any sort of contaminate in on the base. And now we see aggression at the top from those Mutalisks, but they are quickly going to retreat away from those cannons. These Phoenix coming in, trying to focus down Queens, picking up 2 of them here, able to get 1 Queen, able to get a 2nd Queen there, trying to get this 3rd Queen. We see 3 more Queens coming in from the 2nd and 3rd of Strifecro. He now only has 3 Queens on the map, and he has thrown down a proxy hatch in the natural here, as well as a hatch at the gold, so he's on 6 hatches with only 3 Queens, so his macro will be slipping, and these 3 Queens are still in the main, so no injects happening right now for the Zerg player, and they are no injects working on any of these bases. Expanding this early, does not have creep connecting all of his bases yet, so those queens are going to take a while to go around. See more photon cannons coming in this northern position, so Kiwikaki really wants to hold this base. Again, we see this Ling on patrol, wants to make sure he knows exactly when Kiwi is on a 4th and 5th base. Now we see the Ling streaming up, perhaps trying to test that northern position, or stopping at this watchtower. We see the Phoenix moving into the base of Strifecro, and again, if he's able to continue to take down these queens, it could really hurt Strifecro.